Now, as I explained in the previous post, before you go and edit a page for the first time, you should have the existing HTML for that page saved as a Notepad document, so you can open that in Notepad++. Now, just in case you haven't already got that saved onto your computer, I'm going to show you how you can do that before starting your editing. So we're in the WordPress dashboard area now, so we're going to then click on Pages, All Pages. Once that lists all the pages there, we're going to find the one that we want to edit. And I'm going to go with this one right down the bottom here, who is Raz. Okay, so once it opens up the edit page there, we then go, that's right, if we don't already have the document, I'm going to show you what we need to do with that. Firstly, it will be to right click on the HTML, select all, right click again and copy, and that's when we're now going to go to a folder where we can open up a document or create a new document by right clicking, new document, and text document. That would be it there, and we'll just simply rename that to match the page, open it up and paste the HTML in there. Now in this particular case that's already been done, so the page that we're looking for is actually called About Us. So if I open that up, that should look exactly like the content that's on the website there. Yes, it is. It's the same page, just making sure. Okay, now when you look at HTML for the very first time, it's going to make absolutely no sense to you at all. But you just need to bear with me for a while here, because it does actually make a lot of sense once you start to look at it. And the easiest way to do that is now to compare this to the actual page that's on the internet, live on the internet. Okay, so let's have a look now. The first thing that might confuse you is you're thinking that there's probably going to be a lot of code to put all these different items up the top around the sides here, but the way WordPress is set up, all that code is looked after in a different part of the website. So the code that you're fiddling with here is not going to affect all of that. The only part it's going to affect is the text that starts right here with the title. Now if we have a quick look back at the text in a moment, we'll see that the first part of the heading here is armed with knowledge. So let's go and have a quick look, and we can see the very first part of the text document is armed with knowledge. And you might be wondering what these bits of code are here on the front and the back, which is H1 and H1. They look slightly different. You'll notice that there's a / there that changes the back one from the front one. These are basically opening tags and closing tags, and what these tags do is tell WordPress that this here is your heading, your H1 heading. Okay, so again we just Alt Tab and click back to the website, have a bit of a look. Then you can see that there's a few paragraphs there. Okay, and again if we have a look, so it's Raz Marketing began as. Have a quick look. Raz Marketing began as. Okay, the reason that you're doing this is to become familiar with what the HTML looks like and what it produces on your website. And so you can see this here is very similar to the heading, but instead of H1 it's got P and then a closing tag which has the / P there, and that's basically telling WordPress that there is a paragraph. Now the next thing that we see, everything here goes completely different. Okay, so this one's a little bit more confusing than what you may have to deal with, but when you get to a bit of text like this or some code that makes no sense, it doesn't actually follow the paragraphs and things like that that are on your page, then you'll have to go back to the page and see what other elements are on the page that that look quite different. So let's have a quick look, and as we can see in this particular case there's an image there, so it's likely that that image is actually this bit of code right here. Now again, I probably could have picked an easier example because this one's a little bit different. There's a little bit of extra code, which is this part that says div and this part that says div up the top there. Now that's an extra bit of code, if we look back, that's controlling this Raz Marketing co-founders, which you're not likely to have to deal with. But if your images do have little footer codes on it right there, again you could probably figure it out by having a quick look at it and seeing what's different when you start to compare a few others. We can see here's that Raz Marketing co-founders. But the important thing is here's what we're looking at right here, all the way from here to here. Okay, we can see there's a bit of code for a frame, so this image has a frame around it, and then the important part right here is the actual image itself. Now you could make this much easier than the example I've just shown you here by just inserting this bit of code, and what that would insert, if we have a bit of a look, Have a look here, there's the image, but there's a slight border around it and this bit of text down the bottom. None of that needs to be there. It could just be the plain image, which is much easier to deal with, which is this single bit of code. And you can learn about image codes in the from the previous post where I talk about W3 schools. You'll learn more information about that. But again, then there's more paragraphs, a few other bits and pieces, but again, it's just about having a look at what's in the code here, going back to the page and seeing what it spits out at the other end, and you'll soon start to figure out where things are. Now, I'm assuming when you're first doing your editing, all you're going to be worrying about is changing some text here and there. So if you wanted to change this paragraph, it's simply a case of finding the paragraph in your HTML. RAS marketing began as a part-time. Okay, well, let's find that one. RAS marketing began as a part-time. So then all you would need to do is go through and say, oh, that word there and that one there are spelt wrong. I want this here changed to something else. Make those changes, and then you would select all of the text once you've made the changes to the paragraph that you want. Right click, click copy, go back to your page editor. Now we're at the page editor here. Select all of the HTML text, backspace and delete that out, right click, paste in your new lot of text and click update. And that's all you need to do, and your changes will be made. Then if you want to get a little bit more advanced later on, we can talk about things like changing out the images to another image. But that will require that you start to get used to using the HTML for images and things like that as well. But to start off with, that's the easiest way to be able to make changes to the text on your page, not have any problems with it. And again, just start to compare things. If you want to add a new paragraph, you just need to make sure that it's got this little bit of coding at the front and the back. And again, it's quite easy to get used to. Have an attempt with that. Now, the important thing here is, let's say you make a total mistake here, you mess everything up. This is why it's important that you have these documents saved on your computer first, because if you do mess it up and you need to get someone to fix it for you, all you need to do is not save the changes that you've made, go back to the original, and just follow the steps that I showed you a moment ago about uploading it and pressing the update button.